From the winerychannel.tv, this is The Source. Here's Manfred Krankl of Sine Qua Non.
Hi, I'm Manfred Krankl. We're here at our beautiful chicken shack winery called Sine Qua Non in Ventura. We started this business sort of as a hobby, really. I had another business, I still have it, called Campanile, a restaurant in Los Angeles, and a bakery called La Brea Bakery. And I've always been a wine lover, and through the restaurant experience decided at some point I might want to try and make my own wine a little bit as a hobby, and lo and behold, I find myself now having that my primary job. My wife Elaine and I, we decided to do that in '94 after making some sort of project wines, as we call them, with a few people, friends of ours like Brian Babcock and Michael Havens and John Albin. And so in '94 we contracted a little bit of fruit from a vineyard called Pianacito up in Santa Maria, and decided we'd make a little bit of wine. And my friend Adam Tolmack here from the Ojai Vineyards, not far from us here, allowed me to go in there and use his equipment and start making a few barrels. And so the first lot was about 4.5 barrels of Syrah. We made it there, and turned out pretty good. And decided to send some to the great famed critic Robert Parker. Just thought, well, put a bottle in the mail, send it to him, see what he thinks. And lo and behold, he loved it. Called us up, gave us a whopping 95 points, which made me almost drink the rest of the whole wine that I actually made from so much excitement. And of course, from that point forward, it all was almost immediately sold out inside of a couple of days, and it inspired me to such a degree that I went nuts essentially, and found this funny space here. It's just an old warehouse in Ventura that we converted into a winery, and I've been there ever since now for more than 10 years, I guess. There's a man up there by the name of Henri Bonneau in Châteauneuf-du-Pape, who certainly is an individual and an inspiration. Obviously, Jean-Louis Chave, there's a picture up there as well, who we visited a few months ago, and certainly an inspiration. And then there's a man that's not as well known yet, named Philippe Camby, who is an enologist in Châteauneuf, who makes wines with people such as Les Cailloux and Claude Zangeon and some other people, and same type of thing. All individuals that make wines in a very personal and individual manner, and I get inspired by it. My own philosophy, though, is I certainly want to be distinctly Californian in my outlook and my philosophy about wine, meaning I want to make wines that are fully ripe, rich, unctuous wines, but at the same time hopefully maintain a certain complexity, although it's a very overused term, and a subtleness even, and a certain grace in the wine still, that are not just powerful and jammy and overly blousy wines. What we make is typically a white wine that's has been in the last several years a cuvée of Roussanne, which is a northern Rhone variety, a very rare one actually, although starting to get planted more and more. Viognier and Chardonnay, which is somewhat unusual, and actually Chardonnay will be no longer part of the blend as of this year, really, '07. We make Syrah, which we're probably best known for. We make Grenache, which is sort of it's my love in some ways, although I love Syrah and all the other varieties, but Grenache is sort of a maddening variety in that it is very difficult to grow and difficult to make, and therefore I'm sort of particularly prone to it because I like its stubbornness. And then we make also some dessert wines with a friend I have in Austria. This is a joint project called Mr. K, and we make vin de paille, which is an air-dried fruit. The French call it vin de paille, or wine of straw. That's what it means. And the Germans and the Austrians call it Strohwein, which is the same translation, wine of straw, because typically the fruit is harvested and then laid out on straw mats to dry for several weeks or months even, and then pressed sort of like in a raisin state. We make another wine that's Botrytis wine. Botrytis is So it's also known as the noble rot, which is a fungus that attacks the grapes and essentially punctures the skins and thereby concentrates the fruit and imparts a flavor as well. And it's a rather interesting process that, of course, we have to help nature along in this climate. But we make that, and we've also made some ice wine, which is very unusual and shocking to some people that we could make ice wine in California. But we have, and we've done it for a number of years, and we've done it with Gewürztraminer and Viognier, and it works actually quite well. Of course, we have to freeze the grapes because we don't get frost in the. Although last year we did, but my usual line is that I think that grapes don't know who froze them, whether it was God or Manfred, and so cold is cold, and the rest of the process is really essentially the same. We simply freeze them and then press them in its frozen state, and so we've made some ice wine as well. And that's been certainly labor of love, but an interesting, really interesting experience for us to work with that. So that's sort of our portfolio, and will continue to be for the foreseeable future, except that the only change is really being that we're going to move more and more toward our own vineyards, and hopefully in the next couple of years to be all estate grown.
Thanks for joining us here on The Source.